Hey folks, so we are now on Natchez Trace, which is a road that crosses, I think, 3 states. So we are joining Natchez Trace just above Clinton, Mississippi. And there's a series of national historic sites on the road. We'll be stopping at as many of them as possible. And the first one here, let's take a look. So this is a grave for Cowles Mead, whose pure life exemplified the spirit of an honest man. Wow, born 1776, died 1844. Hey folks, so I just stopped off at a information cabin and picked up the National Park Service information and learning more about this Natchez Trace Parkway. A couple things that really stood out I wanted to share is that, this is a road that is run and operated by the National Park Service, and it got started by women. A bunch of women in Mississippi came together in 1900. They used moonshine and meatloaf to get some politicians to support their efforts. And this group of women used to come along this, this part of the Natchez Trace and leave markers. Those markers kind of telling stories that they had heard about these different places, then went on to become markers that we're going to be stopping in to check out, that the National Park Service has maintained. Another thing that's notable about the trail is this was the natural route for several hundred animals in their migration. And then it was later that some native folks in the area used it when they would travel. They used this land. Primarily, it looks like the Choctaw. So this is the 200-year-old, at least 200 years old, this natural pathway that animals and then native folks used. I wonder if animals are still using this to migrate. So this is a mound that was created by the Choctaw people. People would travel for hundreds of miles and bring bits of dirt here as a way to honor their family members and their traditions. Look at this gorgeous tree. It's like ferns are growing off of it. There's all this moss. It's almost like a rainforest or something around here. Archaeologists found the remains of 41 burials. Okay folks, this stop is our first swamp. Let's go check it out. There was some kind of hurricane or something that came through here. But there's another path. Because this one looks like, probably not a good idea for me to go this way. Okay, this looks like, oh man, even this one is a little bit blocked. Let's see what we can do. Wow, 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 wow. To the left of this sign is Red Dog Road. It's named after a Choctaw Indian chief named Red Dog. Hey folks, well, after a very adventure-filled day yesterday, I was able to find this amazing campground here on the Natchez Trail. It was so amazing to sleep in the woods, in nature again. It's magical. And I didn't know where I was gonna stay last night. And I just lucked out in finding this incredible free campground on the Natchez Trail. It was so beautiful and peaceful, and the best part was going to sleep watching the little fireflies. This is Pigeon Roost, and once upon a time there were millions of migrating passenger pigeons that roosted in the trees here. And all those passenger pigeons just hanging out, cooing. This is another Indian mounds. Here there are two large mounds, which again was where the Chickasaw people, when they were walking through here, they would bring remains of their ancestors and leave them here. Okay, we are checking out the Witches Dance Stop. Now the story is that the Chickasaw folks believed this place was haunted, that there were witches that would come here and they would dance. When they were dancing, they would float, and then whenever they touched the ground, they would burn. The grass would be singed as an indication that the witches were here. Folks say that there's still signs of singed grass, so let's take a look. Well, there's nothing on the ground, but there's these like pine trees that seem healthy, but then they have these dead pieces. So what do you think? Hey folks, I am in Tupelo, Mississippi. And what do you do in Tupelo, Mississippi? You check out the Elvis Presley birthplace. So let's go check it out. This is the original church that Elvis Presley attended. In 2008, some folks brought it back to its original conditions. You get a sense of what it was like, where he was listening to those gospel songs. And this is the home where Elvis Presley was born in 1935, a house that his father built. Here at a Walmart in Pontotoc, Mississippi, and we can see there was a horse here earlier, and they have horse-drawn parking only, no motorized vehicles. There's some Amish folks around here, and this is their parking spot. Hey folks, so I found out that there's some Amish folks out here in Mississippi. So we're gonna take a peek and go check out the Amish folks. Cute little sign here. We've got some baskets, jams, jellies, pickles relish, candles. Oh my goodness, this sounds delicious. Church or schoolhouse? Look, they have an outhouse too over there. Sauerkraut sounds good, some hominy. The
Amish don't use any electricity. So everything you see here was built by hand. It's amazing to see what a community can do.
Hey folks, so the trip to the Amish people's lands and farms was a success. Now, if you know anything about the Amish, they're not so into getting their picture taken. So there is no video of the Amish folks, just out of respect for them. I have to say it's so cool to drive around and they have handwritten signs of where you can go to buy what. And the place that I went to had a cute little store that you could walk into. So some of the things that I bought, I just want to show you. First off, look at this beautiful pickled okra. How beautiful that is. Some peach salsa, pear preserves, apple butter, which reminds me of my grandma. My grandma used to make apple butter, so I'm very excited about that. New thing, cabbage slaw. I don't know, never had that before, but it sure looks good. Cookies, peanut butter deliciousness. So that was a lot of fun.